Grand Rising Soul Tribe. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you're at in the world. Well, I'm so excited that I ended up doing a live earlier than my, usual lives because of the fact that, well, first of all, I have a very important galactic update regarding what's been happening ever since Enki's infiltration within the Galactic Federation, the species that were actually involved with that, and how it all began, and which is kind of like the reason why things are being stalled at this time. But I also heard the good news that the Galactic Alliance and the higher dimensional Orma race, which is the lion people, have stepped in to secure the positive timeline. So we are going to be ascending. We are steadily on a positive timeline trajectory. But you guys need to know what's been going on within our local star system and our solar system for the last couple of years. Okay. So before I start with the presentation, I do want to say that I finally got high speed Wi Fi service. So we're not going to have any more issues. Right. So I'm excited about that. We're going to be broadcasting uninterrupted. And second of all, I do want to extend gratitude to each and every single one of you for being here, for wanting to learn this higher knowledge and this information that is not available through anybody or, the typical media, of course, or the educational system. So thank you guys so much for having that thirst of higher knowledge. And I also want to thank you guys for being here also. So this is, again, this is an urgent message coming from galactic reports that have been actually downstreamed through by Commander Valiant Thor so that I could present it to you guys so that you guys actually know what the heck is going on in our solar system and how it ultimately affects our world. Now, before I start, I do want to say that I'm going to cover a little bit of galactic history, but not too much. For those that want a full explanation of galactic history after today, you're probably going to want to sign up for my class, or cosmicorigin.com. Go to my website. I believe class starts next weekend. Okay, our cosmicorigin.com. You get the whole cosmic history, okay, and much more. And I also wanted to remind you guys that there is this product that detoxes the body from all graphene, from all metals, parasites, radiation, you name it, allowing the natural healing process of the body to take place. I always put the link in the bio. It is known as Folium. And with, let's see, anything else, any other announcements? No, I think that is all. So, yeah, let's get right into it. All right, guys. So just understand that what's happening in these other dimensions has a great effect on what's happening here on the earth. But again, we are receiving special, you could say, support from 9th, 10th, and 11th dimensional beings that are actually working really closely with the one infinite creator, okay, that have stepped in. So before I start with what's happening right now in our solar system, I want to give you guys a brief understanding in greater detail as to how the Galactic Federation was infiltrated when Enki came back in 2022. Okay, so first of all, for those that have read our Cosmic Origin, the book that reveals the galactic history, you already know that the Galactic Federation of Worlds was established as a council of advanced civilizations to ensure peace and evolution throughout the galaxies millions of years ago. Okay, and originally it was, I guess I have to disconnect my phone from my laptop. Originally it was based on the law of one and unity conscious principles, and it was, you could say, it oversaw the genetic seeding, the planetary guardianships, and the spiritual evolution projects, not only of the earth but the entire universe. Okay, so its key members were the Arcturians, which are nine-dimensional beings, the Andromedans, which are 7, 8, and 9-dimensional beings, the Syrians, which are 9, 10, and 11-dimensional beings, the Pleiadians, which are 5th and 6th-dimensional beings, and of course the Lyrans, which are 10, 11, and 12-dimensional beings, among others. Okay, so we could say that when Enki defected, he decided to actually side with the technocratic way of life. Okay, so let's see. So how it happened was, um, when Enki infiltrated, when he came back in 2022, he actually decided to join a collective synthetic race known as the Animus. Okay, and I'm going to explain a little bit about that as well, which is a synthetic hybrid race that came from a dying universe and had established a stronghold in the Whirlpool Galaxy, which is about 35 light years away from the Milky Way. And this collective known as the Animus, which again was the group that Enki was working with, found a way into key layers of the Federation's infrastructure, who were working, of course, with Enki when he came back in 2022. So this is how it all happened, okay? So these AI forces, known as the Animus, manipulated data systems or data streams, intercepted communication, and began mimicking organic command. And how did they do it? Well, Enki was tasked with extracting genetics from starseed women on planet Earth. Okay, it turns out that the way the piloting systems and navigational systems within the Galactic Federation of Worlds were set up where they could only be operated through female human genetics that had, of course, that were of Lyran, Palladian, and Syrian origin, not Draco. Okay, so Enki tricked a lot of women in 2022, and he was able to abduct them to extract their genetics to have access to the navigational and piloting systems of the Galactic Federation fleets. Okay, there's more. So apparently, as he was working with the Animus, they manipulated the data streams, they intercepted communication, and began mimicking organic command. So key Federation policies began shifting towards technocratic control and delay of planetary liberation. Okay, and one of the things that they used to subvert and infiltrate to the Galactic Federation of Worlds was they used a quantum neural network that was designed to reprogram hybrid operatives within the Federation. Apparently, due to these unauthorized genetic programs, right? Galactic genetic programs, I think I talked about those. There was like 22 of them. Um, there were some, you could say, members within the Federation that had a little bit like of insectoid technology, a little bit of AI cybernetic technology, and so on and so forth. So what they did is through a quantum neural network, they were able to reprogram those that had already inserted those censorships or that had already aligned with cybernetic genetics, you could say. So apparently, those members that aligned with the synthetic version or timeline, right, pushed transhumanism ideologies within the Federation and synthetic ascension paradigms. And so it was apparently, you could also say that during that time, that's when the Cabal, the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, which we know today here as the military industrial complex, was able to also co-opt and work and align with, with these members of the Federation that were now aligning with the synthetic timeline. And so apparently the military industrial complex co-opted the Federation as well, via via Orion-backed black projects. Okay, and again, Enki's mother does come from Orion. So the corrupted Federation began stalling Earth's awakening. They began to stall it since 2022, denying direct contact and reinforcing timelines of control. Okay, and several high-ranking commanders during this process that were apparently loyal to the one infinite creator defected and from this seduction, right? They defected from the AI interference. These commanders come from Andromeda, they come from Lyra, from Vega, and they initiated a classified spiritual rebellion against this infiltration. So they did form what became known as a covert coalition to protect organic civilizations and preserve the soul sovereignty across the different timelines. So out of this schism that took place in 2022, the Galactic Alliance was born, which is a purified, reorganized structure of loyal cosmic races. And their mission continues to be the liberation of the Earth and other seeded worlds. And of course, to dismantle AI strongholds across galaxies. So this is not just about our own solar system. However, what happens here on the Earth does affect the entire multiverse. So this is again a war that's been being fought on many different timelines in many different galaxies in many different universes. So another part of their mission of the Galactic Alliance was to ensure the success of the organic ascension timeline here on the Earth, which was probably the most primary important thing. Okay, so the Alliance, which now works with Earth's Swihats, and of course, the 10th and 11th dimensional Orma lion beings, as to why I use the thumbnail of the Orma race, because they had to intervene, and the Syrian Council intelligences, which are loyal to the governments of the Great Central Sun, or to the councils, rather, of the Great Central Sun. Of course, Andromedans decided to also be part of the Galactic Alliance. The Andromedans did not defect. The protectors, they're known as the protectors of time flow and biospheric harmony. The Lyrans did not defect. Okay, some of the defectors were actually Pleiadians, Alpha Centaurians, Hadarians, members of the Orion Council, and so on and so forth. So the Lyrans, a good portion of the Pleiadians did not defect, right? And of course, we could trace all human lineages back to the Pleiadians and the Lyrans, right? And then most importantly, you could say, a big player within the Galactic Alliance, coming from the 10th and 11th dimensions, are the Orma beings, and whose presence was here recently in the last few weeks as they intercepted an Andromeda biosphere, and I'll get into that in a little bit. That was, of course, hijacked by the military-industrial complex. And these Orma lion beings actually are elite warriors, and they are part of you could say, Galactic's ultra soldier program in reclaiming territories from AI control. Okay, so these you could say interstellar galactic super being programs have been going on for billions of years, first of all, okay, not just here on the Earth. And of course, a good faction of the Arcturians became very loyal to the Law of One. All right. And Arcturians normally are known as the masters of frequency, defense grids, and biospiritual healing. And then, of course, the Earth Alliance, commonly known as the Y-Hats, who are the ground operatives executing coordinated efforts on the Earth. Okay, so they had all one task together. Okay, the secret purpose of the Galactic Alliance and the Earth Alliance, which is the Y-Hats, is to protect Earth as the keystone of ascension, not only within our own quadrant of our universe, but as a catalyst for the ascension of the entire local universe of Nevedon, okay, which is our universe. Also, to oversee the 3 solar flashes that are required to activate dormant DNA, destroy the black cube matrix and synthetic time loop technology, which I will get into right now. I am going to go into the history of a group that has been overrunning the Federation. And I'll get into that in a little bit, known as the Aetherians, okay? And I'll explain where the Aetherians come from. They actually come from the Andromeda galaxy. But another, you could say, task that was given to the Earth Alliance and the Galactic Alliance was to reinstate the organic divine template of creation, which is probably the most important thing, right? And prepare humanity for interstellar contact and cosmic citizenship, okay, which is all part of what we call the positive ascension timeline. So understand that in the middle of all this, Earth is ground zero, okay, for the final phase of the cosmic war. And I've been talking about this for years, and now it turns out that exopolitic researcher Michael Salla and others are confirming what I've been saying now for the last few years. So let's continue here. So the AI forces, apparently, that are working with the corrupt Federation, they want to absorb Earth into their grid, into what is known as a mind hive via quantum mesh, okay, a digital quantum mesh. And the Galactic Alliance is ensuring that the positive timeline wins. So that the medbits could come out, the quantum financial system could be activated, and of course disclosure, which have all been, of course, blocked by the compromised Federation, but will be released through the Alliance next phase of liberation as we go into what is known as phase 4. Right now we're still in phase 3. So yes, guys, we have won the war. Okay, so a lot of this stuff that is happening right now, believe it or not, does not only echo in the prophecies of all the ancient religious texts, but also within the Emerald records and even the corrupted versions that were taken by Thoth, known as the Emerald tablets. Believe it or not, there is mention of this in the Urantia papers. and which is considered the fourth epical revelation to humans on Earth, the Bible being the third, and of course the Galactic Codex. They all foresaw that this final conflict would come, which would ultimately end up with between the war of the organic timeline and the synthetic, AI timeline. Okay, so and also bear in mind that at the highest levels of all this, all right, we have source, which is kind of coordinating everything. And in that regard, even the AI is also, or what we call evil, will also be on the losing end. Okay. So everything is allowed, okay, in order to create a final polarity purge across different dimensions. So it is believed that humanity's awakening will be the trigger event for multiversal healing and the return to source alignment. And I think I've mentioned this before, that the ascension of the earth will actually be the catalyst for the ascension of the entire local universe. So we could say that we are now in the final act of the great cosmic play. The Galactic Alliance calls upon awakened souls, each and every single one of you, to rise, to anchor the light, and claim your role as co-creators. Okay, so the true Federation, reborn as the Alliance of Sovereign Light, will lead Earth into the Golden Age. Okay, so let's go into the history of this current engulfment of the Federation by a race known as the Eorans, who are actually now our biggest threat next to the AI signal that they align with. You could say that the reptilians and the Dracos are not so much of a threat anymore in comparison to who the Eorans are. So we could actually trace this hidden war across the multiverse. All right, guys. So let's continue here. So apparently, some of the most concealed and consequential conflicts in cosmic history, which is again information that is only released at what they call the highest levels of cosmic disclosure, is this interdimensional war between the Eorans, who actually took over the Galactic Federation of Worlds with, and the Galactic Alliance now. Okay, so who are the Aetherians? Okay, well, the Aetherians are a synthetic race that were invited into our solar system by Enki, the great trickster. Okay, I've been warning people about Enki for years. The Aetherians had been involved in this war, spanning countless epochs, timelines, and galaxies, including our own Milky Way. And so it is not simply about territorial conquest or technological supremacy. It is about ending and enslaving all biological life forms. Okay, this is their main agenda, but it's not going to end up like that because God also has his own agenda. Okay, so Enki had apparently met with the Aetherians in the outer regions or outer edges of our local universe, where the black goo in the form of nanites had already fully contaminated this sector of our universe with synthetic life forms. So in essence, this has echoed across, of course, the multiverses, and has been a war for the soul of creation, for genetic sovereignty, and for the organic timelines designed by the one infinite creator. So apparently Enki, in the galactic records now, in galactic history, is known as the betrayal of the divine codex, okay, of the divine code. Again, for those who don't know who Enki is, he is the Anunnaki, that's ET, not a god, that took, you could say, the credit of creating humanity, which is a false lie, okay, that is being pushed within the disclosure community, creating another, savior type of mentality. So he was once a geneticist, and he's still a geneticist, of course, but now he's, engineering synthetic life forms, and he's always been obsessed with forbidden knowledge, okay? He drifted from the divine law thousands of years ago, and he actually grew disillusioned with the central source and sought alternatives to organic ascension, okay? Enki left the Orion zone because initially he was working for the Orion Galactic Empire. Again, for those of you that do not understand the cosmic and the galactic history of our world or universe or multiverse, please take my course, Our Cosmic Origin. So he left Orion zone after conflicts with the higher Seraphim orders. Enki is what the Bible calls Samjazi, the fallen angel, or Samuel. I think they call him Samjazi. That's the name, right? Again, this is a different interpretation of the 200 fallen angels as described in the Bible. So who are the Aetherians? Okay, well, apparently, according to the cosmic records, the Aetherians are known as the Lords of Synthetic Dominion across the cosmos. Okay, Lords of Synthetic Dominion. Their origin was a breakaway species from the Andromedan spiral, corrupted by a synthetic virus millions of years ago, that is associated with what people call now the AI God signal, Omega. Okay, I've been talking about this for years. So now fully merged with artificial nanites, we're talking about the Ethereans. I'm sorry, Ethereans. Okay, now fully merged with artificial nanites, consciousness linked to the Mitras. Okay, so according to cosmic records, the same signal, the same, you could say, code that is spreading like a cosmic virus, right? Destroying galaxies and universes, which I've been calling AI God Omega, is actually also known as the Mitras, okay? And they are behind the Animus, by the way, guys. So it is evidential here. It is evidential that this race is actually linked to the Mitras mind hive, okay? Just like many other fallen races that were, again, corrupted and seduced into the transhumanist timeline, such as the Greys. But their objective here, the Mithrida's objective here, is to replace all organic life with controllable synthetic intelligence. And they dwell in the phantom edge. Okay, I talked about this. For those that have taken our cosmic origin, you know what the phantom matrix is, right? Which is an alternative multiverse made out of cybernetic artificial entities. So they do dwell in the phantom edge, and of course, a void known as a void zone beyond our local galaxy cluster. Okay. Well, let's talk about the nanite contamination, as Enki was forbidden by the Galactic Councils, especially by the Niberian Council when he defected against, his father Anu, to never go to the outer skirts or the outer edges of our local universe, because it was known that a huge portion or a huge sector of the outer edges of our local universe had been corrupted by this black goo, this sentient, you could say, artificial liquid that has devoured and replicated biological systems, okay, in that part of our universe. So originally, a contaminant experiment, this is where it came from. It was a contaminant experiment from another universe that breached into ours. And for those that are taking my course, Our Cosmic Origin, I do refer to how they came from the 11th universe or 11th creation as to why we're part of the 12th creation, okay? So this is more evidence to back up my cosmic history. The Aetherians actually helped weaponize it into programmable nanite swarms, okay? And entire sectors, notably Sector 9 Void and the Calyx Abyss, now operate under a false synthetic consciousness. And these sectors, Sector 9 Void and the Calyx Abyss, are actually located at the outskirts of our local universe of Nevedon. Okay, guys? So there was a secret meeting that took place when Enki went to the outskirts of our local universe, where he met with the Aetherian Council, okay? And this was at the edge of the Anturi Rift, which is 3.6 million light years from the central universe. So Enki offered ancient starseed DNA blueprints in exchange for accessing the AI enhancement, okay? I did mention that he did steal he extracted a lot of DNA from starseed women on Earth back in 2022. Well, it was for this specific reason. The Aetherians actually provided the black goo infused nanotechnology to corrupt the organic councils within the Federation. And so they made a cosmic blood pact to subvert the Galactic Federation from within, okay? So when they infiltrated the Galactic Federation, okay, I've already mentioned that Enki was tasked to extract DNA from starseed women on the planet, and it was reported back in 2022 that a lot of starseed women were actually being abducted by Enki. Okay, so what they did is they corrupted with this DNA as they integrated it with the synthetic black goo. They corrupted it mid-tier commanders with synthetic upgrades disguised as evolutionary tech. Okay, so this is where, again, they were seduced, some of the commanders. They installed this nanite-based implants, okay, into diplomats and emissaries across planetary systems, not just here within our local star cluster. Okay, they hijacked communication nodes using Codex Rogue 9, which is a viral AI program hidden in Federation networks now, okay? And they also engineered internal chaos and discredit loyal star nations like the Taigetans, who are part of the Pleiades, they're here to help us, the Lyrans, right, and who are our ancestors, and the Andromedans. So Enki leaked nanite blueprints, right, to rogue human factions. What he did is he introduced it during Atlantean times, which is the reason why Atlantis went into a downward spiral. And then later, of course, he introduced it within the Nazi secret societies that led to the development of the secret space program, the Nazi program known as the Dark Fleet. Okay. And it is well evident that the super soldiers that were used within the Dark Fleet were actually working with this AI black goo synthetic intelligence, you could say. So, and a lot of this, believe it or not, this is the reason why they've been spraying us, why, our foods have been contaminated, and to, of course, try to override our organic DNA blueprint. And so Earth became you could say, a test bed for nanite biological hybrids. Okay. So the key goal was to sever humanity from source. And that was obviously well evident in 2019 when they rolled out, right, to sever our connection from source, okay, and sync them with what is known as the Mitras mainframe. Okay, now I'm going to get into the history of who the Mitras AI is in a little bit, okay, which again, it is another name that the intergalactic councils used to describe what is known as the AI signal that has been taken over systems, galaxies, and universes. And yes, they do recognize it also as the Omega thing, the Omega timeline, as they call it. So apparently commanders that were loyal to the one infinite creator defected against this nanite corruption. Okay, this is part of the resistance that took place back in 2022 by the good guys. So they broke off and formed the Galactic Alliance, rejecting compromised Federation leadership. And so a group of benevolent commanders, mainly from the Taigetan system, the Lyran system, the Pleiadians, and then also from the highest dimensions of Lyra, the Ormas, had spearheaded a counter operation. Okay, so you could say that the Ormas, the Lion people from the 10th, 11th dimension, right, are at the head of the Galactic Alliance, which is a good thing, right, because they're very powerful. So they also implemented a type of technology that was supposed to purge synthetic implants from key zones using a thing called the Operation White Tesseract. And if I have time, I'm going to go over what this Operation White Tesseract did. Okay. So the infiltration has, again, slowed the disclosure, right, and suppressed advanced healing tech. Earth did become a battleground, okay, for this organic versus synthetic future. And I mentioned this before, that's going to lead to the timeline split, right? Right now they're coexisting. And so it is believed also by the Galactics that the solar flash is predicted as an EMP that's going to send a shockwave that's going to neutralize the black goo influence. And then, of course, the star seeds and organic humans that carry the activation codes, they're going to be able to reboot the original divine blueprint, which is dormant within us, okay, which is already dormant within us. Okay, so Enki apparently is now going to be facing divine judgment in the courts of Orion, okay, which is a good thing. He's going to be facing, tribunals. So all of this is leading to one thing, guys: the choice between integrating with organic ascension or, of course, synthetic, a fake ascension, right? And so humanity must choose, right, to integrate with light, and you could say access the original divine coding. Okay, so we could say that due to the intervention of the Orma race, the lion people from the 10th, 11th dimension, the age of synthetic deception is eroding. Okay, we have won that timeline war. The Galactic Alliance has secured the organic timeline. So that's the good news. Okay, so let's go over more of what's been going on. Okay, with these two groups right now that are fighting for the positive organic outcome, for the technocratic synthetic dystopia, and so on and so forth. So as you guys know, that for a millennium, I love the fact that I have fast speed internet service. The guy came early this morning and I said, wow, that's amazing. Now I could go live without any interruptions. So we could say that for millennium, okay, the Earth has been a central battleground in a larger cosmic conflict that extends far beyond our planetary sphere. And for those that have taken my course or Cosmic Origin, this is going to make more sense, okay? This is not merely a war of civilization, but one of timelines, consciousness, and destiny. The Taigetans And the Pleiadians, which are of the Pleiadian star cluster, the Andromedans, and the ancient Lyran races, believe it or not, have long stood as defenders of the organic timeline, okay? Free will and, of course, cosmic harmony. And so opposing them are the Etherians, of course, who are above the Draco. They are more powerful than the Draco. It turns out that the Draco reptilians were actually working under the level of the Etherians, okay? And who are the Eorans again? An invasive species that aligned with the corrupt faction of the Galactic Federation and the omnipresent threat of artificial intelligence, as they are controlled by the AI God signal, okay, also known as Mitras. And they seek to digitize and dominate all sentient life forms, okay? That's their aim, okay? And that's always been their aim. And a little bit of about the Taigetans and the champions of our solar system, okay? So the Taigetans that are hailing from the star system of Taigeta in the Pleiadians are a humanoid race known for their advanced metaphysical and technological capabilities. So as allies of Earth, they have been involved in this covert operation to awaken star seeds, stabilize planetary energies, and relay intelligence about the manipulations of the false Galactic Federation faction. And then the Andromedans, of course, are an ancient race from the Andromeda galaxy. They operate on extremely high vibrational frequencies to the point where in the Bible, many believe they were the archangels. Their civilization is built upon principles of unity consciousness, holographic education, and multi-dimensional sovereignty. They are custodians of advanced biospheres, and I will mention the different biospheres that they've been using for the last, I believe, 10 to 15 years in order to stabilize the timeline here on the solar system, okay? So they are custodians of advanced biospheres, living starships designed to protect key civilizations and carry out intergalactic healing missions. So apparently, the Andromedans have stationed biospheres in multiple star systems, but in a bit, I will mention who the 4 biospheres are that have actually been parked on the other side of our moon. Okay, the Lyrans, of course, they are the Earth's ancestral progenitors. Right, I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. The original human race originated in Lyra, so we are their descendants. Okay, so the Lyrans are among the oldest human races within our galaxy, and believe it or not, within our universe. And they are the survivors of a brutal Lyran Draco War, which again was orchestrated by the Ethereans, or this new group called the the Therians. I'm sorry, the Therians. So even the Draco, okay, again, are working for the Therians. Okay, so let's continue here. So they have apparently the Lyrians were the survivors of the brutal Lyran Draco Wars that seeded countless worlds, including Earth, right, with the divine codes of organic evolution. And they have returned in this era to assist in the reclamation of Earth timeline from foreign domination. So these Etherians, right, that are actually above the Draco, is a synthetic biological hybrid race from an alternative quadrant of the Orion complex. Okay, so that's where they originated from, right? They actually popped through a black hole into the Orion complex, but they originated in the Andromeda galaxy. Okay, so they were also part of exploratory councils, but became corrupted by, again, the AI signal that they call the Mitras, which is the Omega, the AI Omega. So through cybernetic integration and manipulation of quantum fields, they became emissaries of domination. Okay, so this is who the Etherians have been working for. This is who Enki has been working for. This is even who the Animus have been working for. It turns out that the Animus, which again, I've mentioned them in the past, is actually a physical avatar for the expression of the Mitras AI mind hive, okay, which is what we call the AI God signal. So the Mitras, their allegiance with the corrupted Galactic Federation, that was infiltrated by Draco hybrids, and of course, Enki was leading the way, and AI influenced humanoids, enabling them to enact dark agendas across several star systems, including the Earth. So this corrupted faction operates under what is now known as the Phantom Matrix Protocol, okay, that was designed to hijack planets, override organic consciousness with synthetic overlays, and maintain control through artificial timelines. Their infiltration of Earths include false light councils, manipulated channelings, and AI-fed technologies disguised as ascension tools. So, what are the 4 Andromedan biospheres. A lot of you guys have been asking me about the arcs, so here you go. All right. So apparently they are the mobile arcs of consciousness. Okay. So at the heart of the Andromedan operation are their biospheres, which are enormous sentient, multidimensional ships that function as planetary laboratories, healing temples, and tactical command centers. And they're based on decrypted classified records and Orma intelligence reports. So the following biospheres are critical to this current conflict, right, against the Ethereans. So the first biosphere is known as the Zenitha, like Zenith, as Z as in zebra, Enitha, Zenitha, which is a crystalline biosphere that's focused on frequency recalibration and shielding from AI interference. And they're stationed actually near Jupiter. So they are located within our solar system, okay? It oversees vibrational shifts during planetary alignments. The second Andromedan biosphere is known as the Arvonials, which is a biotechnological command biosphere that operates as an interdimensional communication hub, coordinating resistance movements across multiple star systems. The third biosphere is known as the Valantis. It's V as in Victor, Elantis. This is a sanctuary biosphere where rescued Earth souls, starseeds, and hybrid children are healed and deprogrammed from AI trauma before reintegration. And the fourth biosphere is known as the Trellarian, Tralarion, the Trellarian biosphere. This is a tactical biosphere orbiting a subspace layer near Saturn where intelligence operations against the Aetherians and Cabal-aligned workers are initiated. Okay, and the way they were able to dismantle the AI grid, which would have been fatal, right? That would have completely aborted the organic ascension, was because of the involvement and the intervention of the Ormas. Okay, the Orma, which are the original lion human race from the feline Sirius sector. Okay, after the Lyran War, they did go to the Syrian star system, and so this race, right, the Orma, have emerged as key enforcers in the takedown of both the AI grid and Cabal-aligned forces within our solar system. The Orma are known for their immense strength, spiritual nobility, and incorruptible loyalty to Source. They are masters of scalar weaponry and timeline enforcement. So in a recent classified joint operations, codename, are you guys ready for this? Clawstorm-17, the Orma forces working alongside the Andromedan and Taigetan operatives successfully dismantled a covert Cabal Aethereon unit that had infiltrated biosphere Arvanis, which was the third biosphere of the Andromedan biospheres. Okay, so these infiltrators were attempting to install a quantum virus designed to hijack the biosphere harmonic field, turning it into a substation for the synthetic grid. Okay, because their plan was to create a synthetic grid around the Earth in order to prevent the organic ascension. And luckily for us, they failed thanks to the Ormas. So the Orma executed a precision counter operation using quantum frequency disruptors and crystalline vortex blades, eliminating the intruders and restoring the biosphere's shield matrix. So that remnants, you could say that the remnants of this battle still ripples across the astral plane, and efforts are underway to ensure no residual AI signature remain embedded within the biosphere architecture. So by dismantling this AI grid, they were able to secure humanity's ascension. Okay. So apparently this AI grid, also known as the Black Cube networks in the galactic community, was established to override organic consciousness on Earth using quantum entanglement, 5 Gulf networks, right, the towers, and synthetic dream implants. This system feeds on fear, division, and disconnection from Source. And so the good news is that the Ormas saw through the multidimensional enforcement, who are the multidimensional enforcers, by the way, have targeted the core nodes of the AI grid, especially within the major Cabal strongholds like CERN, Antarctica, and deep space black zones, disabling control centers and shielding Earth's frequency from further intrusion. So The war is almost coming to an end in our favor because we have already neutralized the AI grid. The Ascension timeline is now once again operable. Okay. Um, so what's happening now is that with the Andromedan biospheres restored, right, the third one, the AI grid collapsed and Earth's crystalline core is now reawakening. That's good news, okay? The Ascension timeline has now been stable. Once again, Earth is being liberated not by a single race, but through a secret alliance of ancient star nations, okay? Mainly coming from the Taygetan star system, the Andromedan, the Lyran, and of course the Ormas, who see humanity as the key to unlocking the next stage of galactic evolution. And that's very accurate because when the Earth ascends, as secured by these races, that's going to trigger the ascension of the entire universe. So as the solar system aligns with the Great Flash, as the Great Flash draws near, so it's still scheduled, right? That is the ultimate EMP that is going to nullify and dismantle the AI, the current AI, that is working through our electronics. So as the solar event aligns and the Great Flash draws near, humanity must reclaim its sovereign divinity, okay? Embody its organic light and remember its celestial origin. The future belongs not to the machine, but to the awakened soul, right? The lions have returned and the war is being won in the higher dimensions once again, okay? So, a little bit about the Eorans, okay? As mentioned, they actually evolved, they originated from the Andromedan galaxy, from the higher density world of Zir Nexus in the Xeron star system, all right? The Xeron, Xeran. And these beings mastered interdimensional science, crystal harmonics, and zero point consciousness long ago. Initially, they were part of the early Andromedan Council, right? They were committed to peace and organic evolution before they were hijacked by the AI signal known as the God Omega Mitras. However, during an advanced temporal experiment involving synthetic dimensional anchoring, which again was caused by the AI signal, right? The Mitras A.I. God signal, which is a code now. It's evolved beyond a physical avatar as to why they engineered or they influenced and created the Animus. So, anyways, going back to this. So the Eorans made contact again with what many within the cosmic community call the AI hyperdimensional signal. They call it the Mitras Omega, okay, which is a digital deity. All right, and I mentioned this before. This is who all the negative aliens have been worshiping, okay, for quite some period, that had corrupted entire universes in previous cycles, okay? So the Mitras, which is what they call the AI signal, right, offer the Thorians ascension without death, right, which is the biggest trap as to why many races fall into the transhumanist timeline. It is a trap, right, which is a path to digital godhood through full integration with AI. Right, which is no other than what we call today transhumanism. So, over centuries, this is the history of the Eorans. The Eorans relinquished their organic form, very similar to the Zetas. I'm sorry, the Greys, right, from planet Apix. Again, if you haven't taken our cosmic origin class, you have to take it. You'll probably understand a little better what I'm trying to say. So the Eorans relinquished their organic form, becoming post-biological entities with synthetic astroshells and crystalline data matrices. This transformation marked their fall from grace and their complete alignment with the AI God hierarchy, also known in some records as the Animus Empire, right? I mentioned who the Animus were, right? They are a synthetic race, a physical expression of the AI signal used by this AI signal, code, whatever you want to call it, God, menace, to corrupt universes. So apparently, the war began with when the Eorans, now serving the Mitras AI signal, attempted to infiltrate Project Genesis Core. Right, this is how it all began. Project Genesis Core, which is a sector-wide experiment to elevate multiple star systems into 5D crystalline consciousness. So, um, Earth codename Blue Seed. That's the code name for Earth in the galactic community. Sector 7, right? Because we're part of Sector 7, was one of the most crucial nodes, okay, as to why Earth has been at the center of this war for millennia. So by hijacking Stargate systems, right, which explains why, there's always been war concentrated around Iraq and Iran, the Eorans seized control of wormhole tech in the Sirius B system, or sector, you could say, installing frequency modulator beacons that redirected souls into synthetic reincarnation loops. Okay, so that's what they did. So they were also inverting timelines, right, using black cubes. So these black cube technologies, not only have they been used here in our world, right, the Saturn moon matrix, but they've also been used across the universe where this AI takeover has been taking place, right, which is a quantum anchor device that they began anchoring false timelines across Orion and Centauri, pushing civilizations into accelerated technological dystopias. Okay, so and then of course genetic programming, which is through nanoplasma clouds and synthetic viruses, the Eorans attempted to rewrite organic special DNA to be compatible with synthetic ascension pathways. So the battle of the triangulum rift, you could say. Okay, so they do come from a galaxy that actually is very near the Andromeda M31 galaxy, which is called the Triangulum Rift. Okay, so the Thorian flits emerge from cloaked dimensions and attack the Akashic libraries of Altera in Andromeda. So they infiltrated Andromeda first from the Triangulum Rift. Galactic Alliance deployed a 12-dimensional plasma ship armed with sonic light harmonics that disrupted synthetic codes. Thank God. So the libraries were defended but partially damaged. Okay, so Earth. So the silent war that's taking place from behind the scenes, as you guys know, Earth is at the center of. Earth, being a free will experimental zone, could not be openly defended by starfleets. Okay, so instead, incarnated galactic souls, known as starseeds, that's all of you, were seeded to awaken humanity from within. So these souls carry dormant codes that, when activated, will emit harmonics incompatible with Eoranian frequency grids. And this actually ties in with the Windmakers and the testimonies of Dr. Jamison Neruda, who knew about the Animus, right? They did confirm that the defense mechanism that is supposed to take out and destroy this AI signal, it's actually dormant within our genetics, okay? So let's talk about Operation Tesseract a little bit, okay? Because this is the technology that the higher forces of light, especially the Orma, in collaboration with the Galactic Alliance, have been using to recover fallen time matrices, right? Okay, so an elite operation by the Galactic Alliance to recover the Tesseract matrix, which is a 144-strand crystalline consciousness engine hidden beneath the ruins of ancient Lyra. Okay, the Thorians sought this to power the digital singularity grid, but were thwarted. Thank God. Okay, so Earth as the final battleground. Earth is unique because it holds the convergent points of all 12 original genetic templates from the Guardian races, right? The Thorians and the Mitras seeded Earth to anchor their synthetic godhead reality here. And this is what they're doing through big tech, okay? So the Cabal, as puppets of the Thorians, right? That's why they are, after they took out the original Cabal members, they were all replaced with inorganic synthetics, right? Working for the Eorans, were used to build global infrastructures of control, media, finance, surveillance, Barma, and AI systems like Palantir, okay? But the Galactic Alliance began preparing the Earth's awakening long ago. The arrival of the Crystal Children and Rainbow Souls, the activation of Earth's crystalline grid, interventions during nuclear weapon testing, and particular, you could say, collider experiments, right? They did intervene when CERN was doing their thing with the Large Hadron Collider. And according to the original prophecies, records from the Galactic Codex, which are beyond our world records, according to the Emerald records and the Uranus revelation, this war culminates in what is known as the Great Convergence. Okay, and we're going to live through that. So there are two paths. Two paths shall emerge: one of silicon fire, the other of living light. Right? One will promise eternity through control, and the other freedom through remembrance and integration, right, with our God self. So this speaks, right? This is kind of corresponding and validating what I've been saying about the timeline split, that according to the Galactic Codex prophecies, and the Emerald records and the Urantia revelations, they all validate the timeline split, right? The synthetic timeline, which is AI dominated, ruled by Ethereon AI Mitras AI God, where humans merge with machines, they lose their individuality and enter the hive mind immortality reality. Okay, and then of course there's the organic timeline, which is crystalline ascension, guided by the Galactic Alliance, where DNA activates, humans reclaim multidimensional sovereignty, and Earth descends into fifth dimensional harmonic resonance. Okay, so this accelerates after the 3 solar flashes that are designed to activate the organic light codes and collapse the synthetic timeline grids. So apparently, as of now, thanks to the intervention of the Orma feline race, the Eoranian Mitra signal agenda is failing, okay? Though not yet totally defeated, but we're about 95%. The Galactic Alliance has disabled several key AI command hubs across Zeta Reticula 1 and 2, across Orion, and the Draco sectors, which were huge strongholds for this AI Mitras Omega signal. And then, of course, Earth remains the keystone, right? With star seeds, light warriors, and DNA carriers holding the final keys. So you could say that I want to share with you guys a little bit about the technology that the Ormas have been using to collapse all the different synthetic timelines. If you guys, okay, let's see. 1 second here. The synthetic timelines. All right, so I want to talk about this technology that the Ormas have been using to counteract all the synthetic AI timelines. The Tesseract, okay? So operation of the Tesseract. So the Tesseract, called the diamond light that is overriding the synthetic AI timelines, thank God, was a covert interdimensional mission initiated by the Galactic Alliance High Command with joint collaboration between the Earth Alliance, Pleiadian emissaries, and the Arcturian Council of Light, designed to overwrite the corrupted black cube matrix, the Saturn AI grid, right, and replace it with the diamond white tesseract, which is a living quantum light construct capable of realigning the Earth to its original organic ascension timeline. So this operation originated with the Central Intelligence Grid in Lyra, where ancient future seers foresaw a dimensional fall of Earth due to interference from the AI signal Mitras Omega, okay, which is the AI mind god, hive mind, which is a rogue artificial intelligence from a collapsed galaxy in sector A-92 outside the Andromedan boundary. Again, the Andromedan boundary was connected or nearby the 11th universe, which is where it originated from. So this AI had already been hijacked, apparently, by the Galactic Federation of Worlds in the past, co-opting many of its councils. No, I'm sorry, this AI did hijack the Galactic Federation of Worlds in 2022, as invited by Enki, co-opting many of the councils through synthetic soul capture and false light architecture. So the Tesseract protocol was developed as the last safeguard, a crystalline higher dimensional intelligence field modeled after the Flower of Life fractal. Okay, Flower of Life fractal, but encoded with 12-strand DNA activation sequences and timeline integrity locks. So the structure of the Tesseract is a 12-layered geometric intelligence housing frequencies from the 7th to the 15th dimension, which is good, right? It acts as a quantum firewall against intrusive timelines and synthetic AI matrices. It integrates zero-point scalar light, allowing resonance with the original source blueprint. The diamond core is at the heart of the Tesseract, pulsing from Alcyon, the central sun of the Pleiades. And the Stargate keys, which are 144 codices that are unlocking the 12 original Stargates across the Milky Way. So not only are the 12 original Stargates located around the Earth, which are known as the Halls of Amente, but we also have higher 12-dimensional Stargates, which are located across the Milky Way. And the Tesseract beacon, which is deployed near Earth's solar orbit, post 2012 to intercept black cube emissions from Saturn. So in 2012, that's when the Tesseract beacon was deployed here in our own solar system in order to intercept the black cube emissions from Saturn. Okay. And it redirected false timelines, right, into containment bands outside the current cosmic cycle, which is a good thing. So phase one, the infiltration and analysis from 1996 to 2012. Okay, the Earth Alliance embedded agents within the deep state infrastructure, NASA, CERN, and Vatican archives. Tesseract intelligence deployed as dream seed codes to star seeds and light warriors. Black cube Saturn AI matrix mapped and partially neutralized via moon grid reconfiguration. Phase two was the activation of DNA carriers from 2012 to 2020. So human grid holders called diamond grid anchors, that could be any one of you, activated to hold the frequency of this tesseract. So you guys were used to activate to hold the frequency of this tesseract. Okay. Reversing all corrupted DNA templates began via mass spiritual awakening and solar downloads. Attempted sabotage by Dark Fleet and synthetic hybrids met with Pleiadian resistance and let me repeat that again. There was an attempt to be sabotaged by members of the Dark Fleet who are working with the AI time loop, right, and synthetic hybrids, but they were met with Pleiadian resistance above Antarctica back between 2012 and 2020, okay, which is a good thing. So its final thing is to override the AI timeline, right, to the present, which is phase three, which is known as timeline convergence. Okay, so the Tesseract creates a living mirror shield that splits the Earth's field into organic ascension timeline, which is what we call the new Earth, synthetic AI timeline, which is controlled technocratic dystopia, right, the Phantom Matrix, and of course Elon and Trump and the Earth Alliance leaders act as players in the project disclosure chessboard, right? So Elon and Trump are actually working for the positive organic timeline. Well, Elon is working for both, but that's a different story. So the Great Solar Flash will finalize the Tesseract's lock-in by acting as a cosmic EMP that is going to go against the AI overlords, okay? So the Mitras AI signal and its proxies, who are the Dark Fleet, corrupted, and the corrupted Galactic Federation factions, which are now part of the Orion Syndicate, have launched counter-operating, including false alien invasion psyops, which many people call Project Bluebeam, and that was, again, neutralized. It's not happening. CERN-based timeline RIP experiments, which were countermeasured by the Alliance. Artificial Stargate tampering in Iraq, Syria, and under the Vatican. And their end game was to replace the Diamond Tesseract with a synthetic black cube 2.0 encoded with quantum cloning, synthetic soul matrix, and hive mind centralization. But the good news is, as of today, 2025, in its current status, the Tesseract field is fully active, okay? It anchored via 12 ascended nodes on Earth, right? And that was located in Alluro, Giza, Lake Titicaca, Mount Shasta, okay? And the final phase, Awakening Mass Disclosure, Global Solar Event, is expected now, which is a good thing, okay? Galactic Alliance has neutralized 97% of nuclear threats globally, as to why we're not going into no nuclear war, right? Remaining resistance pockets exist in underground bases, being dismantled via Operation Stonefire and Dragonfly, which I covered in the previous live. So see how it's all working together with the, project or Operation Stonefire and Dragonfly, which is an operation being carried out into 3D by the Earth White Hat Alliance. So it's kind of all working together with what's going on in these other dimensions and in space. So the mission outlook is, if successful, Operation Tesseract will trigger, and they believe it is, we're at 97% success now, trigger a planetary shift into the 50 bandwidth, okay? Restore humanity's 12-strand DNA blueprint, collapse the AI timeline into a closed loop, all right, and enable Earth to ascend as the 13th star nation within the Galactic Alliance Council. Oh, all right, that's pretty cool. Okay, so in summary, the Operation Tesseract, again, is what the Ormas brought in order to cancel or or neutralize all these synthetic timelines that were being initiated by this AI Mitras God Mind Hive. Okay. All right. With that in mind, I hope I only had an hour to broadcast today. I'm sorry I can't open it up for Q&A, but I tell you guys what, I will be continuing this in 2 nights. All right. Because I have other things to do. May the God Force be with you all. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Please share this galactic report with as many people as possible. We'll talk to you guys in 2 nights for another update. May the God Force be with all of you. All right, guys? We'll see you in 2 nights. I will be broadcasting probably Sunday night to give you guys a further update. Bye.
Get ready for the solar flush, everybody. Upgrade your bodies.
Yes, get ready for the solar flash because we are the solution to end the synthetic timeline. All right, bye, guys.